For those of you who have a Bible, Matthew 16 verse 24. Then Jesus said to his disciples, if anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. And I have another passage I want to read. Matthew 4, verses 1 through 4. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil. After fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, if you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread. Jesus answered, it is written, man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God. The Greek word tempted could also be translated into tested. See, today, it's not very popular to follow Jesus. Jesus says, deny yourself, pick up your cross, and follow me. Yet alone, we see how Jesus was led into the desert, and Jesus is saying, follow me. Well, where, Lord? Into the desert. Well, what is in the desert? Why would I have to go to the desert? And I'd like to read Deuteronomy 8, verse 2 and 3. Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the desert these 40 years to humble you and to test you in order to know what was in your heart, whether or not you would keep his commandments or commands. He humbled you, causing you to hunger, and then feeding you with manna, which neither you nor your fathers had known, to teach you that man does not live on bread alone. In other words, God is saying, follow me into the desert, and I will humble you. Do you want to follow me? Do you want to be like me? Pick up your cross, deny yourself, and come. See, the desert is not a very pleasant place. And you ask, well, God, why do you lead me to the desert? The natural things in the desert, they all predict death, a dead end. And God is saying, well, this is exactly why I led you here. To teach you, to show you that the supernatural is greater than the natural. That you will not live just on the manna, the physical bread, but on the supernatural, on the Word of God that comes out of my mouth. Time comes when we're in that desert, we see death. Sometimes a doctor, perhaps you went to the doctor, they've detected some kind of a virus, a cancer perhaps. Maybe the physician said, you know what, you're no longer going to walk or talk. And this is where God says, well, you know what does my word say? I say you will walk, you will live, and I'll provide a way out of this desert. Last month, God gave me an opportunity to go to Washington. My Aunt Tanya, we prayed for her on Friday night service. She has a high adrenaline level. She cannot sleep. She hasn't been able to sleep for more than 3 hours for the past, or since June. And so I came, I said, God, if this is your will, I want to go and pray for this woman. And so God provided a way. He said, you know what, I'll make the way. So I got a rental car, I got my family, I came to Washington. She comes out to greet me, and I had only one day to spend with her. I said, how are you doing? She came out, she hugged me, she said, we have no time to spend. I got no time to lose. This is so precious. Let's go pray. So I got my Bible, I started to read the Word. I said, look, this is what the Word of God says. God says you will not live on just bread alone, but every word that comes out of His mouth. Every word that comes out of this Bible. And so we started praying the whole day. We were just praying. I said, God, thank you. I believe that you're gonna do something supernatural, that you're gonna reveal your mercy, your grace, that I believe she's gonna touch many lives through her testimony. And we continued to pray, and it was already night, and she'd been sharing with me how God has been putting words in her mouth and how he was speaking through her through the word of God, through the Bible. And so we parted ways, and yesterday at about 9 o'clock in the morning, as I was at work, I get a phone call from Tanya. I say, hey, how are you? She says, Ruvim. She explained. I was like, what is it, Tanya? She said, you will not believe what happened. I said, what is it? Did God heal you? He said, no, he gave me a dream. I saw a huge clock on the wall, and the arrows were going very quickly. The hours were flying by until it hit 11:55. And she says, you know what that means? I have 5 more minutes left, and God will take me out of that desert. I will come out victorious in the power of God. When the clock strikes 12, God will change my circumstances. God will get me out. He will change me. And I said, Lord, you are awesome. This is amazing. And what I wanted to say was, every Christian here, whether you're born again, or whether you were born again just the other week, or perhaps you've been following Jesus 15 years, 20 years, maybe 5 years. God will lead you into a desert to test you, to humble you, to teach you that man does not live on bread alone. And Matthew 11:29 says, Jesus was saying, take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. It is so often that we call out to God, Lord, I want to be just like you. Lord, I want to be more like you. We have songs that we sing. We come to worship and we say, Lord, I want to be just like you. Well, God is saying, if you want to be like me, pick up your cross and follow me to the desert, where I will teach you to be humble. Friends, there's a time where we have to go through a desert. The Israelites were in the desert for 40 years. Jesus was in the desert for 40 days. And he was tested, tried and true. And today, I believe that some of you here tonight are going through the same desert. Perhaps you've been in that desert for 10 days, 20 days, a month, or a year. And you've just been calling out to God, Lord, how much longer? Well, I want to say that God has a time, and he knows how much you can bear. Hebrews 4:15-16 says, for we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we, yet was without sin. Let us then approach the throne of grace with confidence, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. This is the time when we need Jesus most of all, as when we are in this desert, where God is teaching us. And so tonight, I want to say that God, the true Word of God, Jesus Christ, he is that living water that you need as you are going along this desert. And so I'd like for everyone to stand up, please, to your feet. And if you have been going through this desert, if you've been going through this tough time where it's dry, the spiritual drought, and you feel like you need God to lift you up, to give you a sign, perhaps a dream, how much more time left? I'd like to ask you guys to come out in the front. We're going to pray for you.